Cosmicism, as defined by Wikipedia with commentary. Cosmicism is the literary philosophy developed and used by the American writer H.P. Lovecraft. The philosophy of Cosmicism states that there is no recognizable divine presence, such as a god, in the universe, and that humans are particularly insignificant in the larger scheme of intergalactic existence. The most prominent theme is humanity's fear of their insignificance in the face of an incomprehensibly large universe, a fear of the cosmic void. Because I believe divinity, or the traditional concept of God, as a separate being overseeing reality is unreasonable, I can support this perspective wholeheartedly. There's no reason to believe that separation and distinction are fundamental realities, so some benevolent creator watching over a fragile and ignorant flock doesn't work if there's only one thing or a non-thing in existence. However, because our senses incline us to feel distinct and separate, there is a near species-wide desire for some powerful and benevolent protector to keep us safe from this foreign and dangerous universe, and to care for us as one with their own children. But again, without some fundamental distinction, there can be no other to seek protection from. And that also means there can be no true void. Cosmicism shares many characteristics with nihilism, though one important difference is that Cosmicism tends to emphasize the insignificance of humanity and its doings rather than summarily rejecting the possible existence of some higher purpose or purposes. In Lovecraft's Cthulhu stories, it is not the absence of meaning that causes terror for the protagonists, as it is their discovery that they have absolutely no power to change anything in the vast, indifferent universe that surrounds them. I think this is a reasonable position and an accurate assessment of humanity, although terror in the face of universal insignificance isn't an inescapable condition. We're incredibly limited in our perspective on this reality, so we don't truly know if there's no purpose, meaning, or significance to this life in this universe, but we do know we're a tiny and relatively ineffectual portion of the whole, but we're not insignificant. As I said in my video about why you matter, you can't be insignificant when you're a portion of an inseparable and unbroken whole. Even if we're only talking physically, there's no reason to believe that the trend of increasing simplicity and interconnectedness doesn't extend below the Planck length and Planck volume. Parsimony, efficiency, aligns directly with the scientific principles of least action and conservation of energy, so we're logically such an essential part of the universe that removing us would irrevocably and unquestionably alter this reality, even if the alteration wasn't perceptible by humans. We can't change much of anything beyond the surface of this planet, and when dealing with the entities in Lovecraft's novels, we're powerless. But that shouldn't cause terror any more than not being able to regulate the moon's recession away from the Earth does. There are so many forces and things beyond our control and comprehension that we should simply accept their existence as nature, the same way we do hurricanes and other natural disasters. Lovecraft's Cosmicism was a result of his feeling of humanity's existential helplessness in the face of what he called the infinite spaces opened up by scientific thought, and his belief that humanity was fundamentally at the mercy of the vastness and emptiness of the cosmos. I think this makes philosophical and intellectual sense as well, because a rapidly expanding awareness is disconcerting and often painful since it exposes us to unknowns in others. We're evolved to see other and new as threats, and science has exposed us to a vast, largely unexplored cosmos that could potentially house every nightmare and monster in its seemingly infinite expanse. In a sense, we are at the mercy of a vast and empty universe, but we'd worry less if we understood we are actually one and the same as it. Almost certainly so. Even though there are regions of your mind and anatomy that are mostly unknown to you, there's no rejection or fear of them because they're understood to fundamentally be you. That's how I think we should think about the entirety of the universe, although that's not how we'll experience it from the limited vantage point of an individual. Cosmic indifference. Instead of malevolence or benevolence, H.P. Lovecraft and anyone subscribing to Cosmicism believes the universe to be relatively indifferent. I think the universe is indifferent in the sense that it doesn't prioritize one aspect or region over another, or one being or entity over another. I think some beings are simply better able to make use of reality or see it more effectively and clearly, but the same aid and assistance is likely available to all beings, all entities, at some level and to some degree. Though Cosmicism appears deeply pessimistic, H.P. Lovecraft thought of himself as neither a pessimist nor an optimist, but rather a scientific or cosmic indifferentist, a theme expressed in his fiction. In Lovecraft's work, human beings are often subject to powerful beings and other cosmic forces, but these forces are not so much malevolent as they are indifferent toward humanity. Again, I think the universe isn't malevolent or benevolent. I think it's simply an existing reality. We're either willing and capable of hearing or seeing, or we're not. There simply is what is, neither good nor bad in some absolute sense. Value and quality are only had from the subjective perspective, and we either have the sense and maturity to accept it for what it truly is as best as we can understand it, or we don't. Though personally irreligious, Lovecraft used various gods in his stories, particularly the Cthulhu-related tales, to expound cosmicism. However, Lovecraft never conceived of them as supernatural, but extraterrestrials who understand and obey a set of natural laws which to human understanding seems magical. Yet again, another reasonable view. Things that are beyond us to the point we have zero comprehension of events might as well be thought of as nature, unless you're inclined to magical thinking. I prefer nature because it points to truths and workings that aren't fully understood more than it does some foreign power or force. He, Lovecraft, believed in a meaningless, mechanical, and uncaring universe that human beings, with their naturally limited faculties, could never fully understand. Absent universal awareness or an absolute perspective, we can't know the fundamental and true nature of the universe and reality. Whether or not it cares, whether it's mechanical or computational, is beyond us, so an indifference to the universe's feelings about us is the best approach. It's unlikely that we will ever fully understand. In fact, I don't think it's possible without obliterating yourself. Existing as a human is only possible thanks to the limitations in ability, perception, and form. So understanding things completely and accurately would go beyond your current limitations to such a degree you could no longer be defined as human, nor relate to your former self. These limitations and this ignorance we possess as humans is fine. It's wonderful, in fact, because it allows for a unique and personal experience, and we couldn't enjoy sci-fi or the world without some.